Okay, everybody, welcome to Chapter 11. Chapter 11 is circumference, area, and volume. So the first two sections we're going to do are 11.1 and 11.2, and they both encompass the same standard, which I've written here is G.C.5. I can find arc length and sector areas of circles. So 11.1, we're going to review, first of all, circumference of a circle, and then we're going to look at what arc length is. So first of all, circumference is the distance around a circle. Okay. Now, some people say that this is kind of like the perimeter, but when we're talking, it is, but when we're talking about a circle, we call it circumference. There's two ways we can find circumference depending on what we're given. Circumference is either pi times the diameter, or it's 2 pi times the radius. And when you put 2 and the radius together, what you end up really getting is the diameter. So they're the same thing, it just kind of depends what you're given in your picture or on your circle on which one you want to use. Now, the new part that we're going to be covering in this section is arc length. Arc length is a portion of the circumference. So if you take a look at our picture, the circumference is the entire way around the circle, versus the arc length is only going to be part of that. So the arc length here is going to be A to B. So we're not going to go the whole way around the circle, we're just going to take a portion of it. Now, in order to find that, in the last chapter, we figured out arc measure. So let's pretend here for a minute that I told you the measure of that central angle is like, I don't know, 80 degrees. So that means we know that arc AB is also 80 degrees. So the way we find arc length, or how long AB is, because yeah, it's 80 degrees, but is that like 10 inches? Is that 20 inches? How long is that if we were to actually walk it? You're going to take, okay, well, AB is 80 degrees out of 360, which is the whole circle. Now, that's kind of your ratio. It's telling you how much of the whole circle you're dealing with. And I want to compute that into a length. So then you would take it times the circumference, which in this case would be 2 pi r. So really what we're looking here, and I kind of wrote this funny, but arc length equals the measure of the arc out of 360 times circumference. And sorry, I wrote that really bad. Okay, that's the formula you're going to need to know. That's the formula you're going to need to have on your test. So write it down. That way you can reference it. You take the measure of the arc out of 360 and then you multiply it by your circumference.